Welcome to Die Hard on a Blank, the podcast where we explore the influence of Die Hard on action cinema, one action movie at a time. I'm Philip Gawthorne, and with me as always is Liam Billingham, and today's film is Assault on Precinct 13.
It's Die Hard in a police station. Again, sort of, because I think we've been down this dusty road
The Negotiator
before.
is technically
Yes.
the same. We could have said an abandoned police station
There
if you wanted to split hairs.
There are Negotiator vibes to this film, for sure. Just the kind of like cop against cop kind of thing, and but it's a little more, it's a little less cerebral and a little more muscular.
Yeah, it's a little bit more down and dirty than the Negotiator's borderline prestige. With its cast, you know, it's a Warner Brothers like classy, high budget movie. This is just like scuzz bucket heaven. I love this. I love this remake. We're going to talk about the original. We're going to talk about the original, of course. We are talking about the 2005 remake starring Ethan Hawke, and Laurence Fishburne. But we will inevitably be discussing the original OG classic,
which
the Carpenter 76 version.
Maybe the greatest movie ever made, honestly. I don't know.
It's awesome.
Let's just start with that. So I texted you, because it's so good. I texted you, so I rented all 3 of these discs. I took the discs out of, from Scarecrow, no free ads, but from Scarecrow Video here in Seattle, which you can get, they will mail you discs if you want to rent from them. But,
go and present them with an invoice for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're a non-profit, but fuck them.
It's all about brands.
Yeah, brands. I'm gonna go post on LinkedIn about it. So within 20 minutes of starting this movie, and I texted this to you, and this was my review and I had seen the original, of course. You know, I'd seen the 76. I'm increasingly convinced that John Carpenter is the greatest mainstream filmmaker of the late 20th century. The man is a hypnotist. I've never seen anything like the way this guy cuts and shoots for tension. It is unfucking believable. And, you know, we've been watching, we watched Big Trouble. We watched They Live. I recently rewatched The Fog, which might be my favorite Carpenter movie. Like, It's crazy because it's like not that well regarded compared to the other ones, but you're like, oh, this is like a low key masterpiece.
Absolutely.
And I think you brought this up to me before, that like the older I get, the more I'm like, I worship at the feet of John Carpenter's filmmaking. Unbelievable.
His command of form.
Unbelievable.
Is extraordinary. And you know, I was listening to just on my drive back from school drop off. You know, I'll put on the music from the movie that we're doing just to kind of get in the headspace.
Yeah.
And I put on the original 76 Carpenter iconic theme music. And it was just like, man, how cool is this guy that in 1976, he sort of, not only is he the most amazing filmmaker, he sort of creates electronica.
Well, he kind of
like,
creates
casually.
podcast music is my other theory here. It's like the beep, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, boop, boop is like really, he actually... I had friends see him in New York on Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm going in 2 weeks. Yeah.
We don't have to get into it beyond saying that it's amazing. And I think in a way, this is a really loving homage to it by ignoring its storyline, but taking from it
the spirit of it. Yeah.
The spirit and some of the smartest choice. It takes the smartest elements of the original movie and puts them into this movie, in my opinion.
It's interesting. You know, there's a conversation to be had, and maybe we'll have time to have it today, maybe we won't, but, you know, about the validity of remakes. But I've been, my dear friend Andy Myrona, who's been on the show.
Yeah.
I was on the first episode of his show, the Andyplex, talking about The Fog in detail, and I met him through a whole thing where has this whole cadre of guys that called themselves Sons of Carpenter, and they had their own...
Sounds like a bike gang
podcast.
for nerds, honestly.
yeah, exactly. And so we're all going to see Carpenter and pay worship
okay, you
to
don't
our
have to
hero.
Make me feel bad. Okay, I'm just kidding.
I now I've completely lost my my thread here. Where was I going with this? Why was I bringing that up about Assault? I'd say we'll come back. It'll come back to me.
Sorry, my
fault.
fault.
Tell me, no, not at all. It wasn't. Tell me, did you see the original first before seeing
You know, I
remake?
think I did. I have a clearer memory of I have a clear memory of seeing the remake on home video, just kind of like renting it in the heady summer of 2006, right? After it had come out on home video and being like, wow, this is a good movie. I really remember liking it. I did not like it as much in the rewatch, but I think it's not that I liked it less, but we'll get into it. And then I went through a little bit of a Carpenter kick in grad school, actually, which is really weird because like the stuff I was doing in grad school is so far removed from like anything John Carpenter. You know, it was not genre kind of stuff. It was like I went to film school for like art, to make artsy movies. But I went through, I rewatched. So weirdly, there was a Blu-ray of The Fog at my mom's house. I don't know where it came from. And I put it on, this is, 12, 13 years ago. And I was like, oh, wow, this movie is like incredible.
I'm talking about hypnotic.
Oh, yeah. No, just
mesmerizing movie.
And he's like a real, I hope this doesn't sound crazy, but it's like, he's like a good at edging. Like John Carpenter has this ability to just like, slowly build dramatic tension, and both The Fog and Assault do that incredibly well. So I rewatched The Fog, and I was like, I'd never seen it. That was the first time I ever saw The Fog, and I was like, this movie rules. And then I watched The Thing and Assault, and so that was the last time I'd seen it. I probably saw it like in high school. I just don't have a strong memory of it. I've definitely seen it multiple times by now. And I rewatched it this week. It's on Amazon Prime, and then I actually watched the Blu-ray. I got the Blu-ray.
The original is, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, this is like unbelievably... He's so he's so contemporary. Even a movie that was made almost 50 years ago feels like it's brand new, and it pairs nicely with One Battle After Another, Paul Thomas Anderson's new movie. I think.
No spoilers, please. I'm not.
No. I'm not. Nothing like that. Just the vibe and the feeling of it. Basically, is all I'm saying.
I remember what I was going to say now.
Yes.
To bring this back on track, and it totally wasn't your fault. It was purely down to my lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Fun fact: I have never had a good night's sleep when recording an episode of this podcast.
That's why you're all jacked up. That's why your energy's so high, because you're like, I've been awake for 36 hours.
I remember what I was going to say. It was to not presume two things, basically. To not presume that it's easy to remake a John Carpenter film, because I when I did Andy's episode, when we discussed The Fog, I looked at The Fog remake, which is terrible.
Tell me a little bit about The Fog remake. What's the deal with that?
I just remember it being so flat, and it's sort of ironically, speaking about something about water vapor, it has evaporated from my mind. But I talked about it in more detail on that episode.
Interesting.
It was very sort of like Nickelback. It was like the Nickelback of remakes. It was like this. The soundtrack was terrible.
That's like the most damning thing one could say about it.
The taste level was really poor. It's just to sort of make the point that it was a very sort of teeny bopper. It didn't get any of what made the original special.
Okay. Interesting cast. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so I remember this.
It was really just to illustrate the point that it's not easy to remake. A lot of people have tried. Some have been to remake Carpenter, but his oeuvre is so strong, and they're also sort of their time. Yet they capture they feel very 70s or 80s or 90s. Yet at the same time, the themes are timeless. So they're right. I can see why people are attracted to remake them, and some of them have been like the Halloween, the recent, I think, Halloween remake. The first one in particular, I thought was exceptional.
The ones that done by that great filmmaker David Gordon Green.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
It's
a very malleable thing. The Carpenter movies.
They did something kind of cool with it, where it was sort of a requel. But the point is, it's not that easy to remake this. And so my history with this goes back a ways, because the other point I was going to make about that was that the sort of sons of Carpenter, or a biker gang of nerds, went to see Assault on Precinct 13 at the Alamo Drafthouse as well. So I've seen it on the big screen,
is it a print?
Which was interesting. I can't recall.
Okay,
but.
I feel like a nerdy biker gang would know that, so I don't know. Maybe you guys need to work on your.
Well, I haven't got my jacket yet. I'm still working my way up. I've got to pay my dues.
Sort of reminds me of the jacket I got in drama in high school a little bit, to be honest.
So, but I also remembered this movie. I think it was Empire magazine or one of those film magazines. Had this. This is a real blast from the past. They used to give away video cassettes with the magazine sometimes, sort of vacuum sealed, and they gave this one away with one of the magazines. It was the first time I saw it. So I tells you how long ago that would have been.
06?
Right. I mean, a really long time ago. That must have been.
Oh, because it was the original, not the remake.
I'm saying the original. The original.
I misunderstood. Yeah, because the remake is like well into the DVD era. I mean, we're a decade into DVDs.
So it wasn't to say that I came to the remake with my arms crossed as some kind of like Carpenter purist defender. I was sort of quite open-minded, but I had very low expectations. This movie rocks, man. I mean, this remake is terrific.
It's really almost, how do I say this? It's almost better than it has to be.
Yeah.
Is like sort of the way I feel about it. And I think it has to, there's a lot of reasons, which we can get into here. But among them, I think, is just the absurdity of the cast. I mean, the cast of this movie is just like, it's really fun when really good actors, and I'm doing this.
Brian Dennehy is in this movie.
What?
Brian Dennehy is in this movie.
When it's really good when really good actors slum it.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean, right? Are you a fan of?
Their performances aren't slumming.
No. Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, there are 3 actors in this that I've seen on stage. 3: Brian Dennehy, Gabriel Byrne, and Ethan Hawke. I mean, these are real.
They're prestige
actors.
guys. Yeah. And Laurence Fishburne as well.
Yeah. And I think Drea De Matteo is really good in this movie. And I mean, fucking Leguizamo is in this. Yeah. Like, what are we talking about?
Ja Rule, the greatest of the bunch.
Dude, Smiley does not appreciate this sarcasm, okay?
All right, let's get into some fast facts. This movie was directed by Jean-Francois Richet.
Are you familiar with him?
Absolutely not.
Have you seen Mesrine, Killer Instinct?
No.
Oh, Phil. It's a 2-part French gangster epic starring Vincent Cassel.
Oof.
It comes out after this.
Okay.
You have to watch these movies.
Okay.
They are like scuzzy and gross, but in French.
Okay.
Like you will love them. Yeah.
All right. Cool. It was written by James DeMonico, based on Assault on Precinct 13 by John Carpenter. It stars Ethan Hawke, Laurence Fishburne, John Leguizamo, Maria Bello, Drea De Matteo, Brian Dennehy, Gabriel Byrne. I mean, that really is a murderer's row of terrific actors. It was distributed by a couple of unusual companies I'm not as familiar with. Rogue Pictures.
Rogue Pictures. Feels like a real aughts production company, doesn't it?
Yeah, one of those sort of companies that would sort of come and go, maybe. It was released on January 19th, 2005.
Okay.
And budget 30 million, box office 35.3 million. So a modest profit at the box office. But what was interesting was apparently upon release on home video, the film sold through 2 million copies on its first week of release.
Yeah, so my theory is that this movie was actually made for the DVD market.
Yeah, very much.
You know, like, oh, Ethan Hawke is in a, or, you know, oh, Laurence Fishburne. And like, even in its aesthetics, and I mean this not critically, it's referencing better movies. Like, Laurence Fishburne is so Morpheus coded in this movie, like evil Morpheus with the sunglasses and the jacket and the kind of foreboding way that Laurence Fishburne delivers every line in a movie. And you have a Sopranos player, and you have Ethan Hawke, who's kind of just done Training Day, and is like
the character's got the same name. He's called Jake in both films,
and he's proved his bona fides as an action star by this point, right? And like Gabriel Byrne's in it, like you can just see a person who's like likes just to watch an entertaining movie at the video store, or like and being like, oh, this is like $18, I'll buy this. You know, like it has that kind of like impulse rent or buy. And just the fact that it's actually like above average.
Well, it's so much better than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And that you expect it to be.
Yeah.
Because it just feels, oh, okay, bit of a, you know, that's a brand people know or whatever. That's you know, it's all about brands. It's a brand people know.
Hang on, let me do a
LinkedIn
post.
13. Anyway, let's move on to, as I struggle to get my mental cogs whirring, functioning on about 2 hours sleep.
Well, you know,
here
it's
today.
New Year's Eve. We've had a rough couple hours.
Woo!
Woo!
Do some Ric Flairs. That'll get me
Exactly,
going.
yeah.
All right. Woo!
Woo!
Okay, let's talk about why we're discussing it on this show in a section that we like to call...
This one's for Blake Howard. Die Hard DNA.
Yeah. See, it has got better.
Yeah.
It has got better.
Yeah, Blake, I love you.
We love him. We love him.
We love him.
Okay. Die Hard DNA. So we've got bad guys taking over a blank. It's up to one person / small group to fight back. Bad guys here siege a police station, primarily up to one guy to fight back here with the help of a few key allies.
Yes.
Film is essentially a siege movie confined to a single location over a compressed time frame, a single night. And then it gets kind of deeper and deeper from beyond the macro basics. So the film has two heroes, one white, one black, who form an uneasy alliance to fight off the bad guys. What I also thought was interesting was that the principal hero, Jake Roenick, played by Ethan Hawke, is a young, troubled working-class cop who combines elements of both John McClane and Al Powell. He has McClane's tenacity, courage, and improvisational skills, but his backstory has a lot of similarities to Al Powell's in that he is a uniformed sergeant who begins the movie riding a desk after a fatal tragedy on the job. The central conflict is a battle of wits, wills, and combat tactics between determined adversaries who are largely in separate physical spaces throughout the film. Despite the hero being a cop, the film as a whole is extremely cynical about the police, who are largely portrayed as cruel and corrupt, much like in Die Hard. Iconic blind musicians being referenced to insult apparently bad drivers. Stevie Wonder is referenced, of course, in Die Hard, and Ray Charles here is referenced by Ja Rule's character Smiley in referring to the prison bus driver Deputy Gill.
I didn't even catch that.
Dorian Harewood. He says something to the who's driving this bus? Ray Charles. Like, it's a straight up.
Dorian Harewood is Harewood's a good actor. I like him.
Full Metal Jacket, right? Like,
yeah,
he's in that, and also Against All Odds, the remake of that, which I'm crazy about.
Your favorite movie of all time?
I love that movie. There's also a notable amount of Die Hard 2 DNA here, in that this takes place during a snowstorm, during the holidays, with corrupt, ski-masked assault teams. And this was the one that I couldn't believe. It even features a direct replication of the icicle in the eye death.
It does!
From Die Hard 2.
Yeah, shades of it was a big Die Hard 2 moment, and of Trotsky's death, which is something I think about all the time.
Chekhov's icicle.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and the final one was, as the film is set during the holidays, Christmas music also features prominently on the soundtrack. This is a delightful romp to see in the New Year's, I would suggest. Like, put this on with your family. We're heading into the holidays.
Yeah, just everyone in the family loves an icicle to the eye.
We'll be back discussing more gruesome deaths after this quick break. And we're back.
We're
with
back.
Our
You're
next section
black.
of the show.
I'm mad. But
Woo! Woo!
Oh, man.
Just fight through the sleep
Do I get a
deprivation.
gun? No!
Fight through it. All right. So we are back with our next section of the show, Anatomy of an Action Movie, where we explore the tenets.
We live in a twilight world.
And there are no friends at dusk of an action motion picture, starting with the premise, which, as I look down at my notes here, is quite meaty.
It is meaty.
So if you'll indulge me, I will lay out the premise. So, after a botched undercover drug bust results in the deaths of two of his fellow team members, traumatized Detroit cop Jake Roenick, Ethan Hawke, has largely avoided conflict and now works an unambitious desk job where he oversees a quiet remote precinct that's about to be decommissioned. However, when a busload of prisoners, including notorious gangster Marion Bishop, Laurence Fishburne, are forced to take refuge at said precinct because of a brutal New Year's Eve snowstorm, Jake suddenly finds himself called back into action when masked gunmen assault the police station. What the twist of it, though, that I think makes this, kind of puts this over the top and is like a great and, to the remake thing. Let's just not just do a Xerox of it. Let's add something. Is that what those inside initially assume that the raiders are part of Bishop's crew seeking to bust him out, but they come to discover that the assault is actually being led by corrupt cop Marcus Duval, played by Gabriel Byrne, who is in fact seeking to silence Bishop.
It's really smart.
Brilliant choice. As a result, Jake and Bishop are forced to form an uneasy alliance in order to fend off the marauders, save the people inside, and survive the night. Great concept, great way to refresh it, I think. It keeps it in the spirit of the kind of, I don't know if maybe progressive isn't the right word, but the first film, its politics are so have aged really, really well. I think for the most part, the fact that it's the one Carpenter doesn't like cops, in my opinion. In most of his movies,
anti-authoritarian.
He's anti-authority,
yeah. And I think that in this is going to include the police, frankly.
Right.
You know,
absolutely. As a tool of that, or as a fist of it in some cases, right? So it's no accident that the cop character in that movie is black, the young black cop, and that the gang are multi-racial, including Caucasian characters, right? He's not looking to sort of do the obvious thing of like, these are the cops against a sort of demonized ethnic group in the South Central LA area where the original film is set. So I was just amazed. I was just like, man, this guy he's so ahead of the curve.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Whether he likes it or not is one of the great kind of leftist filmmakers. It just his sensibilities can't help but kind of come out in the movie. So I think it was a brilliant choice that this film continues with its sort of cynicism of,
I think
the police.
It goes deeper than that.
Even making them the villains in this.
Yeah, with Carpenter, because Carpenter is a child of the 50s. And he's a child of sort of the like great of the Howard Hawks. I mean, it's not an original comparison. Like RIO BRAVO is the basis for Precinct 13.
I was absolutely going to bring that up. You know, that it's not only is Assault on Precinct 13, this is a remake of that. Assault on Precinct 13 is essentially a remake of RIO BRAVO,
which is a great movie. And I think what I give him credit for is like, it's not that I do think that he's left leaning kind of guy, but I think he's also like of that mentality of like the non-conforming individual is actually like, you know, the person who's like, I don't trust any of this. Right. And he does, you know what weirdly the original reminds me of is the way it keeps you at a distance from the invaders. Like it's almost like Dunkirk. We're very far away from them. The camera never gets, like, this movie cheats a little bit, the remake, in that sense, where it, like, we understand really what the issue, like, it's clearer to us, like, what Gabriel Byrne's doing, because you have Gabriel Byrne in the movie. You're not going to keep him 25 feet from the camera. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. But that movie really, you know, Carpenter's always kind of making a horror movie, even when he's not making a horror movie, and part of that is, like, keeping the villains as the unknown. Which, you know, it's like an ethnic gang.
Right.
So.
In the first one, they're more of a sort of zombie horde.
Yeah.
You know, aren't they? And they're just, they're not really personified that much. There's a scene where they make the kind of blood pact.
Yeah.
But they're particularly the character played by Frank Doubleday, who Carpenter heads may remember as the character of Romero in Escape from New York.
Oh,
He's the blonde sort of cop. And on the commentary, it's interesting because he said, Frank Doubleday said, usually I play a character that like has a gun. In this film, I'm playing a character who is a gun. He's totally inhuman. He's very mechanical, and he does the thing that makes, you know, I should actually, you know, you should warn people actually about, if you're watching the original movie, there's one scene in it that is so shocking.
My jaw hit the floor. I couldn't believe it.
Which involves, a spoiler alert for the first film, involves a young child just suddenly being shot dead.
But it's amazing.
It's a brilliant, artistically, it's an amazing choice.
And I think,
it's really, really shocking.
But it's like, God damn it. Like, I wish more movies did this, you know? Like, I know it's horrible, but it's like, it tells you the kind of movie you're watching. I also think, like...
Says you're not safe.
Right.
Right? You know, and Carpenter's really good at that.
Yeah.
You know?
No, he's really good at putting you off balance.
Yeah.
So should we talk about what this film's about?
Yeah, let's do it. What do you think?
Well, I can't help but think that the original is very much a Vietnam film. In that it's sort of about a siege. It's about like underestimating your opponent. It's sort of like about how, you know, like...
Interesting.
And like, but almost a weird inversion, because the invading army is like, you know, it's cops being invaded by these outlaws, right? Like there has to be, Carpenter's not stupid, and I think that like he's using what's zeitgeisty, and he's a leftist, and I'm sure he was probably not a fan of Vietnam. Now, it's a little later than that, right? But this shit's in the air, right? That's kind of a thing.
Well, it's 76, so the war's still going on, isn't it?
Yeah,
or
well, it's
tapering
like,
off, tapering off.
I mean, but it's you have it, like, that's such a psyche. That war is, I believe, in some ways, it ended in 75, but like very responsible for in an abstract
when he shot
way.
it. I think it was probably still
going
on.
I
think,
well,
I think he shot it the year before,
and it's the end of American idealism. It is. It's the end of Vietnam. Is like, that's it. Look at what we did. And so I think that that's in the air. And I can't help but wonder if the Iraq invasion is somewhere at the core of this movie too, right? Just this kind of like compromise. I mean, I don't think these movies are directly about it, but the kind of siege mentality, like a group of sort of like helpless, under-resourced people being invaded by an opposing army. In this case, corrupt cops is a really interesting kind of idea. Like, I don't think it's like, I don't think Jean-Francois Richet was like, I'm making this movie about Iraq, but it feels in the zeitgeist of what's happening in the movie. And it's very smart that in the remake, they're like, technically, I mean, there's a little bit of commentary in the original in that it's like, the criminals are better resourced than the police officers, right? And there's like a little bit of that in this, is that it's actually police officers who have like SWAT-like power. And I don't think it's fair to say that like, there's a little bit of what we talked about with, Point Break, where we're 6 years, we're post 9/11. We're sort of like thinking a lot about who has power. There is a pushback at this stage to like state power, police power, the idea of invasion. So I think it's all in the air. And there is a line, I don't know who says it. It might be Hawke. It might also be Dennehy, whose character is really interesting in this movie. And I wrote it down. It's not a lot, but it's kind of like, no one gives a shit about anything anymore. And I think there's a little bit of this like post Y2K. What the fuck are we doing?
It definitely captures. This is a sort of quite a dark period in history. I think a sort of cynical. People are cynical about the government.
Yeah.
People are post 9/11, post Iraq invasion.
George Bush's second term is about to start. Right? Yeah.
People are cynical and about that. The vibes aren't great in America.
Right. We're headed for a financial crisis.
Right. And this is set in Detroit, no less.
Good point.
An interesting choice that they moved it from LA to Detroit, which has historically been a pretty economically depressed environment. It feels very logical and correct that like a police station would be decommissioned because Detroit is just at that time.
Well, they have RoboCop now, so they don't need as many police stations. No, but like you're right. I mean,
if you look at 8 Mile came out like a few years before, and people got to see what a lot of Detroit really looked like.
Detroit was in the zeitgeist. You're absolutely right. And like there was a period of time where it was like you could move to Detroit and they would like forgive your student loan debt or something like that, And I think it's on the upswing now, but it's kind of like it has a little bit of not but like Rust Belt kind of mentality to it, right?
And grit as well. It's sort of like the grit of the people that do live there. It's a physically, the weather of it. It's a harsh environment.
I couldn't do it. It's too much. I've been to Detroit twice, and it's just like, it's a real cold, sad place. But I think it's in the air in this movie, and I think there's like a distrust of authority, and yet at the same time, there's like this. Still this maybe naive belief that like there are still good cops, that kind of Ethan Hawke's like, I thought you were a cop to Gabriel Byrne at the end of this movie, right? He still kind of like believes in something.
Which is very Die Hard again, isn't it?
Yeah, there are no heroes left anymore kind of thing.
It's sort of, there's two honest cops in the center of that storm in Die Hard, and they're surrounded by absolutely amoral, gung-ho, selfish, ambitious, stupid fucks like Dwayne T. Robinson or the FBI agents, right? That are just ruthless, and it's all a game, or it's all about their career advancement, or the hostage calculus, or all of that type of stuff. They're very similar in the sense that they orbit around two good working class, cops. In this one, slightly different because we have the Jake Roenick character played by Ethan Hawke, but you also have a criminal who has a code of honor, and that's the other thing that I think this movie is about.
Larry,
taking it back to Rio Bravo, and those westerns is the idea of honor and morality and loyalty, especially under fire and under crisis. And the first film has an interesting moment with that because the secretary does the classic western thing of let's just give him the guy, because in the first movie it's a normal fella who is lost in that neighborhood with his daughter. His daughter is murdered by the gang.
Oh, it's so brutal.
Shocking. And
they just shoot her. It's crazy.
It's so messed up. They don't need, obviously it's completely unnecessary.
Right.
She's not like an accidental like casualty. They just kill her because they're evil.
She's like getting an ice cream.
Yeah, so bad. But the dad kills one of the gang members, then races into the police station for refuge. And at one point, the secretary is, when they all come after them, he's like, let's just throw the dad out there, basically, so that the gang can have him and they'll leave us alone. That classic Western trope of let's just give up.
Well, it's what you call it's the trolley problem, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, it's the classic idea for like, you can either, what is it? You kill. I forget. Yeah. It's like, who's like, what is one life more valuable than three lives? Like, what's the, there's that moral conundrum, and you have at the center of it this guy who's like Ethan Hawke's character, who's like, it's the same thing in a movie we're going to talk about later, Hostage. No one dies today, right? Which is like, it's a little glib, but and then 45 people get killed by the guy that says no one dies.
There's
today.
An asterisk after that.
No one dies today, except for the guys I picked that die.
I do want to talk about I love that take though, Liam. I think I hadn't thought about that, placing it in its historical context of Vietnam and the Iraq invasion, and kind of maybe this subconscious gloom around that in the zeitgeist, and that may have informed the film consciously or unconsciously. The other thing that I do want to talk about, we touched on it, and you just mentioned it with Hostage, because there's a little I love tracking these little sub trends as we move through the chronology, and this is like, I would say, maybe the first non-supernatural action horror film I think that we've covered, in the sense that it has elements of a zombie movie, right? Well, we talked more overt probably in the original, but it's definitely in the vibes here. This is kind of a zombie.
Well, the
endless
villains,
hordes,
they don't have any personality. They're just dudes with blood. Like, you ever have that moment where you're like, why are these guys doing this? Like, why are these henchmen like, yeah, no problem, everyone else has been killed, but I'm sure to be successful.
Henchman 117. Yes, sir,
exactly.
Boss, I go.
It really does beg the question. Like, I think about, because we've watched so many of these movies now, like, you think about it more. You're kind of like, what are these guys, why are they doing this? The motivations of the henchmen are not clear, except to be henchmen. Which you need in a movie like this.
But it's the mood of it. It's so dark. It's so sinister constantly. And Carpenter even referenced Night of the Living Dead as an inspiration for the original Assault. But this definitely has, I would say, subtle horror overtones. And the writer would go on to create the Purge franchise.
Whoa!
Which also features Ethan Hawke trapped and besieged by forces of evil, and
Ethan
is
Hawke's
also
in the Purge. I didn't
has
know
a
that.
kind of societal commentary, right? It's sort of like society's gone to the dogs. No one believes in anything anymore. Cynical, dark.
Well, it's like they have the one day a year where you can go like full Thomas Hobbes, right? Like you just can like murder everybody and it doesn't matter, or like Darwinian struggle for and I would also
Hostage the same. See, that's the other point I was going to make was that Hostage is also, I would suggest, a non-supernatural action horror movie, as opposed to The Relic, right? Which is or Deep Rising or something like that.
Which are true horror movies.
Just straight up.
Well, I also think
hybrids.
it's worth. You made the point about the mood. It's also like we're in the age of like, like the late age of like bands like Korn and Tool. These kind of like heavy, dark, like, and some are in on the joke. Like I think Korn's in on the joke. I think Tool's in on the joke a little bit, but like. This is the post-David Fincher era of filmmaking, right? Like, it's all there. It's like there's a real kind of like, if Andrew Kevin Walker, this is like a B, I mean this respectfully, B- kind of, if Andrew Kevin Walker wrote an action movie, right? It would be kind of or 8mm is like something that feels akin to this kind of vibe, like really dark and scuzzy.
But yeah, I think this is brilliant screenplay. Brilliantly written.
Cool.
I really, really think it's great. The other thing, the last point I was going to make about that was, I think it's worth just maybe tying this off by saying, in terms of the horror, that Die Hard does contain elements of horror, especially at the end. When by the time that John McClane has come out covered in blood and is limping out like, "Hi, honey," that is very horror. And then when Carl has his Mike Myers style resurrection, that's very, and then the killer always comes back for one last scare, right? These are classic horror tropes. So it's not it's interesting that there's maybe 5% of action horror DNA in Die Hard, but these films sort of take that and expand it for their
That's good.
runtime.
That's really good. Yeah, and totally. Yeah, there's a couple things I want to talk about that I don't think work, but maybe we'll talk about those as we get further into our conversation.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the hero, our next tenet, Ethan Hawke as Jake Roenick. I gotta tell you, I was blown away by Ethan Hawke's performance in this movie.
This guy's amazing.
This guy is the shit. Like, he's always been amazing. And there was bits in this movie where I've always really, really liked him. I think he's had his career is amazing. And I love this little corridor of him as the actions post training day when he kind of starts. He's like, oh shit, by the way, I'm a very believable action lead.
Yeah.
And there's a bit in this movie where at one point his character gets shot, and I was watching it and I'm like, it's so visceral how he acts it. Like, that actually feels, for the first time I've maybe ever seen, that might be what it feels like to be shot.
Well, he's such a good actor.
He convinces you so much that it's like, oh, that's probably painful. It's probably not like, it's just a flesh wound, I'll carry on. It's like, fuck! That really hurt! Fuck! It's so desperate.
Shades of Bruce Willis in Die Hard.
Yes. Very much so. It's visceral.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
He's the greatest. He's the greatest. Ethan Hawke is the greatest. Can I tell a quick story that you're gonna love this? You are gonna eat this alive. So a couple years ago, I go to Film Forum in New York City to see The Grand Illusion, a Jean Reno sort of anti-fascist movie about prisoners of war. It's amazing. It's like a total masterpiece, one of the great movies. And I'm walking out of the theater at the end, and everyone is just like bowled over by this thing. And I'm next to a guy, and I look over, and it's Ethan Hawke. And he makes eye contact, and he goes, man, fucking incredible, right? It wasn't like... He wasn't like, oh no, this guy recognized me. He just looks at me and he goes like, what am I? And then I like walk out, I go to the bathroom, I come out, and he's like talking to a person, just like a random guy. He like literally was like, I need to talk about this movie right away. Yeah. And he's just like such a
real one. As
he's a total real one. And he's so smart, and like he just did one of those Subway Takes videos, and his take was, you can't have a favorite Beatle. And it's like, it's a profound, and I was kind of like, yeah, you can, it's John. But then you watch the actual video and you're like, oh, like I get what it's, and then he sort of makes this argument for like, there's no Beatles with all the Beatles, and that's what makes them, anyway, digressing here. But what I want to say to your point is that like, he's a really credible action hero.
Yeah.
And, in Training Day, he's kind of supposed to be a fish out of water, right? Like, he's not quite there. Like, Training Day is his training to be an action hero. And there's that famous story he told on the recently very sadly ended WTF with Mark Maron, where he watched Denzel Washington movies to prep. Like tape, like watching tape.
Interview,
yeah. And so to see him kind of like do this, and then I think he does Drive Angry, I think is him. I think that's his movie.
That's Cage.
Oh, that's Cage. Okay, what's the one that he
did one called The Getaway.
The Getaway, that's what it is.
I don't think did as well. But he was kind of carving a little niche for a while here as like a really, credible
Well, he's smart because
lead.
he kind of is taking something from the Bruce Willis playbook, where it's like, I can make all the indie movies. I can make a film about Flannery O'Connor that 14 people see, or a documentary about my music teacher growing up, as long as I kind of turn around and like kiss, kiss, bang, bang a little bit on the side. And yet, he gives everything to those movies too.
What I think is amazing, this might sound like a deceptively simple statement, but to prove what a great, my wife, we love Reality Bites, right?
Yeah.
Where, that was a pretty formative movie for me, and we were talking about that, because I think I just watched this and I was talking about, man, Ethan Hawke is so great in this. And
Reality Bites is really good.
She was saying, she was like, he convinced me in that film that that's who he is. The character in Reality Bites of the sort of grunge, like,
he's such a shithead in that movie.
So smartest guy in the room, but can't get his shit together. Right, but what's amazing is actually every performance convinces you, no, that's who he is. That's who this guy. Like, whether it's Dead Poets Society,
oh my God,
Hamlet, or Training Day, or Hamlet.
He's unbelievable in Hamlet.
I love that Hamlet. I love that take
Michael
on
Almeida is real. That movie's amazing.
He's amazing, and I think he is so I don't think he's underappreciated. I think he's very appreciated. But I think it's cool how his career as well is like, I'll do horror for a while.
Yeah.
I'll be a horror guy, like the Black Mask and then the Purge movies.
Ethan Hawke maybe our last
so versatile.
great movie star? Maybe.
I think he's on. I think of him more as just a real pure
I say this shit
actor
all the time. Yeah, no, you're right. No, you're totally right.
than movie star.
Yeah.
Even though he is a movie star.
Yeah,
but
and
he's
like
a New York, Renaissance man.
Yeah, I love that. I love him. I love him. He's
I love
great.
him.
You know who else I love? Laurence Fishburne.
Fucking A. How we've done a lot of Laurence Fishburne stuff, and we're gonna do more, which we'll talk about at the end of the show. But again, a great character. And what I love this tension between the two of them. Laurence Fishburne as Bishop, Marion Bishop, a criminal with a code. Laurence Fishburne, I think you're just kind of predisposed to like. Even at the beginning of the movie, you don't know how you feel about this guy. He's a gangster.
Can we,
he's notorious.
Can we approach this starting like, so here's the thing about Laurence Fishburne. From The Matrix on, almost everything he says borders on like too much. Like what I mean is like, he manages to be like, there are fields, Neo. Endless field, like these absurd things that he says in these movies, like the way he calls Drea De Matteo like secretary in this movie. Like it's just like every line is just like layered with this voice that's like almost too much. It's almost like, what are we doing here? But he's so soulful and so believable that like he can kind of like he like has this way of feeling like he's doing almost nothing, and it's yet so like, it's so big, and I don't know, he's so distinct. He has such a distinct way of speaking.
I would put it like this, and and this might be a good example in an ensemble movie. His gravitational pull is so strong that he can just be quiet, but everyone, without realizing it, will orbit around him because he's like the center of it all. He has so much
like
weight,
the sun.
So much gravitas.
Yeah.
Right, that he can take his time and say the lines slowly, and people will listen.
My favorite scene is the scene with Drea De Matteo when she's like, "I'm really horny," and he's like, he kind of like uses that a little bit, right. And then he like walks away, and she's just like, "Yeah, she
comes in hot with that." I was like, "Oh goodness,"
I didn't mind. Yeah, he's wonderful, and he's one of the generationally great action movie supporting characters in some way,
and leads in several other movies, and one that we'll be talking about. But I also want to give a shout out to his fit. We don't discuss the fits per se in a separate section on this show, but he's wearing a beautiful jacket and scarf at the beginning of the movie where they pick him up outside the church. He's just class, absolute class. I want to talk a little bit about the villain of the movie, Gabriel Byrne, as the wonderfully named Marcus Duval. A guy I love. It's not like a huge. They don't give him that much.
He's
screen
barely
time.
in it.
He's not in it that much. But of course, you cast Gabriel Byrne, you get this kind of magnetic, mysterious thing that he does. But I love they give him one scene to do the classic, no one is a villain unto themselves scene, where he's sitting in the car and he rationalizes his actions through mathematics.
Yeah, that's a great
scene.
bit.
Well, that's what I mean about like great screenwriting. Actually.
It humanizes him too.
Because he basically says, okay, if we don't do this, then it's not all my guys and my unit, their lives are going to be destroyed, their families' lives are going to be destroyed, their children's lives are going to be destroyed, and there's more of them than there are in this building. Ergo, I can rationalize my actions. And I'm like, that is awesome, like characterization.
Yeah, you're really right.
For sort of like fast food characterization, you kind of cut to the chase. Storytelling.
Fast casual, though.
Done really well. Fast casual.
It's got good nutrition, actually, if you think about it.
Fast food sort of did it disservice, actually. It's more...
I think we just found the clip for the episode, to be honest.
He's definitely more in the fast casual space.
You gotta write that down. That's like when we write our book about how to make a great action movie, we need to, like, our term is fast casual screenwriting, right?
Yeah, fast casual filmmaking.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is.
I want to talk about, if we're done with Gabriel Byrne, he's wonderful. I want to talk about an absolutely maddening part of this movie for me.
Okay.
Because the part in question, the actress in this movie gives what I think is, in the same year, one of the best performances of the 21st century. It's Maria Bello in The History of Violence.
Oh,
she and
amazing.
Oh my God, Vigo. Give my two favorite performances of the maybe. I just rewatched that movie.
Oh, so
Die Hard in a Diner.
I know. I thought about it. I think
we should just do it. It's so fucking good because there's something really deep to it. But
yeah,
that movie. I mean, you rewatch it now and you're like, holy shit, this is like. I mean, it was great then, but like next level. She is so miscast in this movie. She's too powerful to be this like. Weeping, like she's really like the way she is in the first scene is who Maria Bello is on screen. Doesn't take shit. She doesn't fit because she's really a port over from the secretary who dies in the first film. Drea De Matteo is the corollary for Laurie Kimmer, I think her name is, who's wonderful in that movie. And then the secretary who dies in that amazing shootout. This is really who Maria Bello is. And like, with no disrespect to Maria Bello, because she goes out in a blaze of glory, like that final scene, when that's a powerful scene when Byrne shoots her in the head, right? This is a fucking violent movie too. But I just feel like this sort of like hysterical, insane part is not for her. And I find the sort of like, she's a therapist, but really she has all these issues is like, just like It's like almost like fast food screenwriting as opposed to fast casual. I don't buy it for a second.
Some of this would be what was the term, speaking of our little catchphrases, a sort of a wife glare.
Interesting.
Because my wife is a therapist.
Yeah.
So one of the things that she hates is when it's like therapists get involved in like flirtation or sexual relationships with their clients,
literally breaking an oath that they take.
Exactly. It's always treated very kind of glibly in pop culture as like that, like the horny therapist. Or she's flirting and stuff. It's like you cannot be doing that. It's the same as like if it's a doctoral relationship. It's very sacred. It's like if it's a doctor and a patient, you wouldn't have it if it was a patient coming in for a physical injury. So why but somehow with it being therapy, it's like kinky.
Well, I think that there's a real undertone of like in culture of like therapy's bullshit, even though almost everyone's in therapy now and so much of our lives are like bizarre therapy speak, but like that's a result of like, years. I come from everyone in my family's gone to therapy or goes to therapy, right? So it's like, it's very, but I do think, I just hate that character because it's like, it underserves a great actress, like a truly great actress who hasn't gotten, I think, her fair shake because that performance in A History of Violence is like, and it's crazy it's the same year.
The Cooler as well. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, she's kind of like, I mean, she's beautiful, but like
she's kind of fearless as an actor.
They kind
as
of
well.
like lean into that in this too. Like her, she's like getting changed it's just, I don't know. It doesn't, in a movie where almost everyone is perfectly cast, it bums me out that like almost could have switched Drea De Matteo and Maria Bello in this movie, but I really appreciate that Drea De Matteo plays this like woman who rises to the challenge.
Kind of a man-eater.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the action in this film. I think one of the opening sequence to me, I thought very much was narc coded. Recall the grittiness of Joe Carnahan's Narc in the way that it was shot.
It's very different from the rest of the movie.
Yeah, the filter, the filter,
the Guy
as well.
Ritchie filter, kind of that, like, everything is sepia toned, kind of. Yeah, that's interesting. Traffic coded the sequences, the controversial sequences in Traffic that take place in Mexico.
So that was a really like it's kind of tells you I mean, even though it's actually different than the rest of the film, aesthetically, tonally, it kind of tells you the experience that you're in for. It's sort of unforgiving. No one is safe. It's extremely violent.
Titus Welliver is like a Serbian.
Love him, man.
Dude,
he's great.
That guy's so Phil-coded. You got to write a movie for Titus Welliver.
What do you mean by that? What I mean by
that is just like he's one of these like great actors who like could really fuck someone up, and like he shows up and you're like, oh yeah. Like here we go.
He shows up in Transformers 4 as like this sort of badass mercenary.
Is that the Last Night?
No, it was the first Wahlberg one that I
I've only
really
seen
liked.
the original. I've never seen the other Transformers movies.
It's a whole other combo. But no, I'm a big
Brandon Streisand just woke up wherever he was. He was like, someone's talking about Transformers.
What's our Welliver or Titus
cast?
We need some kind of Welliver.
Here's what it is. It is a podcast about Titus Welliver, but every episode opens with a quote from Titus Andronicus by William Shakespeare, just to like cover the bases.
It writes itself.
Yeah.
The rest. This is also. I think the action in this film is strong.
I think it's really strong. I think it gets a little incoherent at the end.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're like, we're in the woods? What? Like it just lacks for a little clarity in the final 15, 20 minutes. But until that point, holy shit, it's great.
It's not necessarily like that creative, but it is robust and muscular. And you know, there's some really, really strong moments.
Can I very quickly, one of the things this movie takes from, it doesn't take that much from the original beyond the shape, right?
No.
But the sequence in the original when the advancing army or whatever, the gang is just shooting in and all the windows are exploding and like the papers are flying in the air and it's all very practical is one of the great simple action sequences I think in movie history. That's really when you're like, Carpenter has such command, right? Because it's just a series of static shots and they work so well. And this movie borrows that kind of like, let's look at the windows as the windows explode. Let's look at the table and like, not that much happens. And this like sort of is my thesis, my big belief about action movies, that like the simpler the better. Less like clutter, like trust, clean, like do practical effects. The camera doesn't have to move like crazy. I mean, I love movies where like Greengrass, like he's one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, but just the way that like we're going to rely on practical effects, people shooting at each other, and we're going to stage it really well. And like, that's all you need. It's so good.
You know what that reminds me of? Sheep Nymphinster.
What?
Shoot the glass!
I was so confused. That's amazing. Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly.
It's amazing how effective that can be. And we also discussed, you know, on the Patreon when we discussed Big Trouble and They Live on 48 Hours of Buddy Movies, how underrated John Carpenter is as an action director because he's so associated with horror. But his command of, like, you know, we talk a lot with Rob Hackett about how he loves George Miller because of his understanding of spatial relations and
they're the two
geography.
Greatest. Yeah, right? They're the two greatest.
Carpenter's brilliant at it too.
You know who else is really good at it is Richard Donner. I think Richard Donner is Richard Donner is a genius. May he rest. But these simple, clear articulations of action and violence are very special.
And this is a good, strong action picture, down and dirty. There is a Philly special when the AV is called in. The whole movie, you know, they're like hype, like we're going to bring in the AV, and I was expecting it to be a kind of send in the car situation where it was going to be like an armored car. Because I thought, are they going to go that big? They're going to go that big with it because they're kind of trying to keep this under wraps, but they went there. I don't know how they were going to explain that.
Can I be honest though? It's a little underwhelming that it's just dudes jumping out of the helicopter. Like, you expect it to be
it needs to be a fucking gunship. That's
like I thought they were just going to blow the police station up.
I suppose that now I remember. That's why they do. That's why there is some logic to it because the helicopter is just to help them get on the roof so that they can siege it from there. Yeah. It's not actually to assault the building because they're trying to pretend that this is Bishop's crew that have done this. They want to pin it on them.
Right, so and they're also using police resources, so they have to be sort of like...
They have to be judicious about what when people look at the aftermath, if they've got like heavy artillery has been fired into the building from a helicopter, it would give them away. The humor, there's actually quite a lot of humor in the film, mainly I would say because like, oh my gosh, Brian Dennehy in this film.
You know who loved Brian Dennehy? Bill Billingham.
Right.
Was such a Dennehy guy. Loved Dennehy. He's such an actor.
Dennis. I love Brian Dennehy.
Did you see that film he made? One of his last films. He's so wonderful in it. It's not like an action film or anything like that. It's a film by who's the director? Oh my God! But like you should watch it because he. You know, I think he got associated later in his career with kind of being an action guy, but he made a movie. Where is it? I will find it and send you the info about it. But
come back to it. But yeah, he's sort of a low-key action icon. I mean, he's in the original First Blood. delivering a phenomenal performance.
Oh, he's so good in First Blood.
Sheriff Teasel. Yeah. And, shout out to Last of the Finest, a.k.a. Blue Heat. The obscure 1990 film.
I've never seen
He was
that.
like on the box of like with a gun being, Brian Dennehy, Last of the Finest.
You know what he's in that has barely any screen time in, but he's so good. And he's one of the only, may have a hot take here. I do not like Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. I think it is, frankly, bad. Because most of the people don't know what they're saying. Even DiCaprio, I'm like,
right.
Dennehy doing Shakespeare is like,
in the back of a limo.
God! Like he's got it. Him and Venora, you're like, holy shit. Like they're amazing. He's so good in that part, and he has like almost no screen time in that movie, but he's so good in it.
No, he's wonderful. John Leguizamo brings some fun and humor
So
I think, to
funny.
the proceedings as well. He's like quite annoying. The character is annoying, which
Yeah.
is the point. He's just like a pest. Funnily enough, he was in a film called The Pest, John Leguizamo.
So the Dennehy film is called Driveways, and it's one of his last film performances, and it's about a woman who befriends him and he's an elderly widower, and he is heartbreaking in it. He's so good.
Love him.
Yeah.
Absolutely love him. Let's put on our tuxedos.
I'm gonna put on my SWAT suit.
Put on our
my mask. Actually, no, I'm not wearing a mask. They shouldn't be wearing masks, police officers. It's,
No. Anyway, let's move on to the Die Hard Oscars, aka the Action Movie Awards, and hand out some statues for this bad boy. Starting with the John McClane Yippee-Ki-Yay Award for Best Line.
Ooh, what are the nominees?
I picked 3.
Give them to me.
And again, I can't do this with the gravitas of Laurence Fishburne, but Marion Bishop says, I know a lot about dying, Sergeant. There's 2 ways you can handle it. With the self-pity or without.
I'm going to go with self-pity because that's just how I roll. No, that's a good line.
That's
a good line.
99% of my life. If you can't take away self-pity.
What else? That's why I'm in therapy.
Marcus Duval said that the line we talked about with Gabriel Byrne's character saying, I'm looking at this as a matter of simple mathematics. We walk in and those 8 people survive and 33 lives are destroyed. The lives of my men and their families, people I'm responsible for, people I love. That's a good villain. That's a good villain motivation.
Yeah.
Fast casual.
Yeah, fast casual screenwriting. I love that. Let's write the book.
And then the last one that's kind of the memorable credo of the movie. Jake Roenick saying, so our shit's still on pause. Is that it? Marion Bishop saying, yeah, our shit's on pause. Like that's kind of the cool idea of the movie that goes back to the original with the Napoleon Wilson character, the convicted killer who's on his way to death row teaming up with the cop.
Napoleon Wilson is the ultimate Carpenter character, I think. There's just something so...
He's proto-Snake Plissken.
Totally! Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, he is proto... And he also... who's the character in The Fog? That wonderful actor, Tom Atkins. He also has a little, that like sort of stoic, but funny, but honorable, believes in something, even though he like doesn't really, that's a really great pull.
So that would be my pick for the best line.
Yeah.
That idea of our shit's on pause.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Gabriel Byrne line because I just think it's like a nice, it's really good. Fast casual screenwriting.
It's a really good burrito.
Yeah. We have a www.patreon.com. Give us a little money for our fast casual book that we're going to write.
The Hans Gruber Exceptional Thief Award for stealing the film. Tough category.
Yeah.
Really strong. So I've got Gabriel Byrne as Marcus Duval, Maria Bello as Dr. Alex Sabian. That's weird that her name's Sabian, the same as the negotiator. John Leguizamo as Beck, Drea Di Matteo as Iris, and my pick, Brian Dennehy as Jasper O'Shea. The name alone is, puts him ahead of the pack.
Listen, there's something about Irish cops that is very, very interesting.
You're not gonna get me, G-man. He comes in and he picks up the like old Tommy gun.
Yeah.
You're like, I love this guy instantly.
Yeah,
he's so
But
fun.
then he's such a piece of shit by the end of the movie.
And he's the worst. That's why it's a brilliant performance because he actually has an arc.
And you see it start to come when he's like, let's go into the basement. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Matt Craven also barely in the movie, but just a good actor. I'm gonna go with Drea De Matteo because I think that part in the original Assault on Precinct 13, I think, is the most interesting part of the movie. The kind of like stoic but brave rises to the occasion. Andrea De Matteo goes in a very different direction. And she's much more vulnerable and much more just like, fuck, what am I doing? Like, I really think, you know, I forgot that she later was in Desperate Housewives, but like she's so defined by The Sopranos.
Right.
And it's like, you know, there is that obligatory shot of her like fishnet stockings and like her body. And of course it's a little like eye rolly, but you're also like, she owns it and she's really powerful in that kind of, like you said, man-eater kind of role. And I think it's like just a lot of fun. And she really made an impression on me.
Okay. The Dick Thornburg Award for Dick of the Movie.
Ooh.
I've got 4. The aforementioned Titus Welliver as the dog-abusing Serbian gangster Milos.
So weird.
Yeah, strange casting, but he's so good that it works. Curry Graham as Lieutenant Mike Kahan, who is Marcus Duvall's brutish second-hand man.
Guy.
Really good.
Yeah, he's really good.
Really just buy him as like a thug cop that's actually quite... But again, what he does, which I think is skillful, he nuances the performance a little bit to be like, this guy is just like, his virtue is that he's super loyal to Marcus Duvall, even though his actions are relentlessly despicable, but he finds that little grit. You know what I mean?
That's good.
That's why there's good work in this film.
No, I totally agree.
Across the board.
I totally agree. It's like everyone's taking it real seriously.
Yeah. They're even though they are sort of slumming, they elevate it because everyone brings their A game. I think. To what could have been a kind of B minus C plus movie,
but almost in a great way. It is a B. It's like a great B plus.
It's a B plus. It's a B plus. I would say.
But I'm fine with that.
Brackets complimentary.
Yeah.
We've also got Kim Coates, the legendary Kim Coates, as Deputy Rosen, the prison guard who taunts the prisoners as they enter the bus with shades of Con Air.
Is Kim Coates in Hostage too?
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah.
And Ja Rule as Smiley for constantly referring to himself in the third person.
It's got to be the Gabriel Byrne's second in command.
Okay.
He's just very good. And he makes an impression. You're right. He absolutely does.
Good
performance.
Because
he seems kind of jittery and nervous.
And if he's called Curry, I mean, his first name's Curry. Like, I like curry. So,
I'm never going to argue with a curry. I love a curry.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite curry?
Chicken tikka masala. Just
classic British answer to that question.
That's our national dish.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Going with a vindaloo.
Right. Best death. I have like 17 lists.
Okay, oh God.
There's like a huge body count.
Let's narrow it down to 4.
All right. Bishop killing the corrupt cop in the church as Amazing Grace begins to play.
Yeah.
Kind of another example is films like low-key, elevated sophistication.
Kind of repugnant, too.
There's one bit that I just thought was so effective. It's where Jake just kills one of the intruders like with a point-blank headshot from behind.
Yeah,
he just kind of does it really
quick.
quick.
Splatters on the glass.
It's just so kind of like no fucking around.
Yeah, I like that. I'm a big fan of that too.
That's because it was just there's so much shoe. Let's cock the gun, and I'm gonna say something, and then I'll threaten you, and then it's just like no, there's no time for that shit. Bang, you're dead.
Yeah, that's
move
good.
on. I love that.
And in a movie where you have the disposability to kill like 20 people, it works well.
Really, really well staged and effective. Then there's the horrible bit where Beck stabs an intruder with a samurai sword, like repeatedly. The murder of Dr. Sabian, Brian Dennehy being blasted by a stun grenade point blank.
Oh, that's gross. And then it shows him kind of looking at his own body. Ooh.
And then there's a couple of Irish stabbing Mike Kahan and Roenick killing Duvall at the end. I would go with that point blank headshot bit just for this sort of alacrity and clean staging of that. I love the realism of it.
That's my runner up. My first pick is, again, I'm all about Drea De Matteo in this movie, is the way Chekhov's throat squeeze, how Fishburne teaches her how to squeeze a throat, and then she uses it, but then she just stabs the guy clean in the jaw, and you're like, it's brutal. I gasped when that happened.
All right, that does it for the Oscars. We're going to take one last quick break and then wrap things up with the Double Jeopardy trivia quiz, where the scores can really change. We'll be right back. And we're back with the Double Jeopardy trivia quiz.
How was your break?
I don't know.
We're going to get it. I think the response is shut up. We're back.
Yeah. There you go. Shut up.
Be a little mean to me.
All right. I don't like being mean to anyone.
I know. You're a good guy.
All right. Funnily, although, if you want me to be mean, I could say, you fucked up my question by bringing up Romeo and Juliet, but let's see if you get the rest of it. Okay.
Oh.
Because it's not your fault. How could you know?
How could I know?
It's not your fault. It's all right. Question number 1.
Yeah.
Assault on Precinct 13 cast members Brian Dennehy and John Leguizamo both previously appeared in a popular big screen adaptation of which Shakespeare play. I should have thought to reword that and said which other cast member was in that, but I've stepped on a big doggy do there.
That's all right.
Never mind. Do I have a backup? Oh, I do. Okay, I have a backup. All right.
Okay.
So that's a freebie. That was
okay. Well, I'll just say Brian Dennehy plays Ted Montague, and John Leguizamo plays Tybalt, Prince of Cats.
There you go. Let's do this as question number 1. Question number 1. Which Assault on Precinct 13 cast member brutally beats up Bruce Willis due to a dispute over a cigarette in which previously discussed LA neo-noir?
The Last Boy Scout?
Is correct.
Who beats him up?
Who plays it? Yeah.
Oh, is it what, Kim Coates?
It's Kim Coates.
Yes. Okay, good. Wow.
Take Chet's corpse out of here and get Mr. Hallenbeck a drink.
That's good. God, that movie, man. That was my Christmas movie this year. How fucked up is that?
My backup question was this. In which 2003 action film previously covered in this podcast does Assault on Precinct 13's Drea Di Matteo make a brief appearance as the wife of a porn king?
2013?
2003.
2003, Porn King. Oh, is it 8mm?
No, we covered it on this show.
Oh, 2003. So it's pretty recent. 2003. Can I have the clue?
The film stars John Travolta.
From 2003? I have no idea.
It also stars Hugh Jackman.
Oh, she's in that? Swordfish.
Yeah, she has an uncredited cameo as Hugh Jackman's ex-wife, who is involved with the Porn King of Southern California.
That's right. I just totally that movie's gone from my brain.
All right, this is the last one.
The musk has evaporated.
You can still smell it. I can still smell it. The convoluted corner. Last one. Right. Okay, I am getting my shit together here. All right.
You're doing great.
Limp over the finish line.
You're doing great.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
According to legend and producer Andrew Vanya, Laurence Fishburne was once offered a key role in the Die Hard franchise, but turned it down. Which role was Fishburne originally offered?
Zeus.
In the Die Hard franchise. Zeus is correct. Zeus Carver in Die Hard with a Vengeance, which was, of course, eventually played iconically by Samuel L.
The
Jackson.
story is they saw Pulp Fiction, and they rescinded the offer to Laurence Fishburne. And we're like, we have to get Samuel L. Jackson. But I think they had to pay Laurence Fishburne.
Yeah,
so
the version of it that I heard,
I don't know what's true or not,
was that Laurence Fishburne at that time, his reps were saying like no more supporting roles.
But he was also offered Pulp Fiction.
Right, but that's a supporting role. And he was trying to break out and do leads. So I think it worked out for everyone. If you're a Laurence Fishburne fan, and why the hell wouldn't you be, we are about to discuss his astonishing work in the phenomenal 1992 crime movie Deep Cover on our Patreon podcast, 48 Hours of Buddy Movies, at www.patreon.com/48 Hours of Buddy Movies, 48 Hours of Buddy Movies.
Goldblum goofs rise up! I've been looking for... I was like, the whole time you were reading that, I was thinking, like, what's the Goldblum joke? I don't know what it is.
So good, isn't it? So we'll talk more about that in due course, but that's all I got. So it's just time to say our thanks to Tyson, as always, for helping us out with your amazing, beautiful artwork. We just mentioned 48 Hours of Buddy Movies, which is $5 a month.
$5. And it's video now. You can see our faces. You can see our beautiful...
Yeah, we got video up there now. Next time on that show will be Deep Cover. Next time on this show will be Hostage. A pretty interesting, pretty nasty Bruce Willis action siege movie from 2005.
It is. Nasty is an understatement about this movie. Yeesh.
Yeah. So an interesting one to discuss with a wonderful special guest, and we're about to record that episode with him.
It's Ben Foster, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm just kidding.
You always do that, and then I feel like you sort of set the bar high. People are going to be disappointed.
Oh, you're right. No,
instead instead of, you know.
Hey, we made a pact,
We've got a better
actually.
guest.
We've
got a much better guest.
Early on, we're like, we're not going to have famous people. We want to have good, substantive conversations. That said, Ben Foster, you want to come on the podcast? Just give me a call. I don't mind. He used to be my neighbor.
Well, you can't, you can't, you know,
you can't really break it down.
You can't really keep it real because you have to sort of, you know, tiptoe around things, I think.
You know, it's not always about brands.
No, sometimes it's about art. Weirdly.
That sounds like a good LinkedIn post.
All right, let's. We're really on thin ice. Okay, let's get the hell out of here and see you next time with a really nasty Bruce Willis movie called Hostage.
We'll be back next time with the Angel of Death, Ben Foster. Die Hard on a Blank is a podcast from Philip Gothorn and Liam Billingham. Tyson Hubley makes our art. You can hear exclusive episodes of our Patreon show at patreon.com/48 hours of buddy movies. Rate, review, subscribe, and tell your action movie loving friends about the show. See you next time on Die Hard on a Blank.